Well, now we got to talk about the not fun part.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, here comes the not fun part, but we'll end with a fun part, okay?
Okay.
All right, I promise you. So I told you, he only made it to 29. He didn't mean to become addicted to painkillers. He wasn't doing drugs to do drugs. He was trying to manage his pain. So Hank was on his way to a show on New Year's Day, the early morning New Year's Day. He was supposed to do a show on New Year's Eve, but there was a blizzard and the show was canceled. Hank hired a college student to drive him to the next show the next day in Charleston, Virginia. It was going to be in Canton, Ohio. So he was going from Virginia to Ohio. He hired this guy, Charles, to drive him there. He was a college student. Hank was feeling terrible. He was laying down in the back seat, and Charles stopped at a motel in Knoxville, Tennessee, and requested a doctor to come and take a look at Hank. Well, the doctor that they got out of the phone book or somewhere wasn't a real doctor, evidently, and he injected Hank with 2 shots of vitamin D that contained morphine, and it was supposed to help him with the pain, but it wasn't the right amount. He gave him way too much. So Hank ended up in the back of the car again, and they continued on their way, and Charles pulled over to get some food and asked Hank if he wanted anything, and Hank just said no, and that was the last thing he said. And then when he stopped at the gas station a little while longer, he couldn't wake Hank up. So he got the gas station attendant, and they called an ambulance, and sadly it was too late. He had passed away in the back seat of the car, and it was because of an accidental overdose which made him have a heart attack, basically. He died of heart failure. So, you know, he had a lot of problems, but he was doing what he wanted to be doing. He didn't want that to happen. That wasn't what he was bargaining for. Just before that happened, he had remarried very right before that, just a few months before that. So his new wife, Billie Jean, was the one there at the funeral. But all his friends, and Audrey Mae was there, everybody was there. His mom, they all were devastated by the loss. They all loved him. And it was a terrible loss. And it was a terrible loss for the music industry and everybody. You know, look at some of the others, like Johnny Cash lived so long. And well, we lost Elvis too young too, but it's too many we lose too young. Hank was way too young. But so Hank his funeral took place in Montgomery, Alabama, at the Montgomery Auditorium, and 15,000 people showed up for it. That was a lot of people. They were outside. That was how many people were outside. They let 2,750 people inside, but that is a lot of people at a funeral in 1953. He was buried in a silver coffin, and his music lives on in all of us today, and in all that we do. I sing so many of his songs all the time. He inspires me to write songs. So I'm going to end. My friends here have some songs that they've been practicing that they're going to do after I finish with one last song. So we're just about finished here. We've just got a few more songs for you. That's pretty much all the talking I've got. So, but I just want to end it on a happy note, to think about Hank. And for me, I love the words honky tonk. I love to play my ukulele at a honky tonk bar. And I can't think of honky tonk without thinking about Hank. And the words that he wrote about everyday life and everyday struggles and being human and not being perfect and just doing our best every day to just treat each other well and be the humans that we are. So I think a song that kind of sums it up with Hank is a song called Honky Tonk Blues. It came out in 1952. It was #2 on the Billboard charts. And it's just a fun song. So I'm going to end it with this, and then these guys, and I'm going to play along with them. We're going to play just a few more songs for you after this one.